Elias hasn't been seen on WWE TV for almost 4 months after he memorably declared that Elias is dead. The former WWE 24/7 champion was seemingly kickstarting a new gimmick by ending the Drifter, but a new report from WrestleVotes notes that the company didn't actually have an end plan for these vignettes. The report goes on to reveal that Elias' rebrand looked too similar to Randy Savage, so WWE chairman Vince McMahon wasn't a fan. Elias's Drifter persona didn't allow him to be very colorful, so this new look would have been a distinct character change for him. With the report about this nixed gimmick, it seems like the company is no closer to repackaging Elias, who has been absent from WWE TV since August. Elias came through the ranks in NXT, where he wrestled for several years before he made his debut on the main roster with his Drifter gimmick in 2017. For several years, Elias was a featured star on WWE TV, and he competed in several specific matches based on his character. Given his background as a musician, he was linked to the debut of the Symphony of Destruction match. After almost 5 years on the main roster, WWE decided it was time for the guitar-strumming superstar to debut a new gimmick. The former champion subsequently declared that Elias is dead in a series of vignettes. After 2 of these videos aired on Monday Night Raw, the company hasn't mentioned him on TV ever since. WWE didn't follow up on these vignettes, so while the character is dead, it's unclear what Elias' future holds. What do you think about this report? Do you miss Elias? Sound off below. Kevin Owens recently took to Twitter to share a message with the WWE Universe. Owens will compete in a triple threat match against Big E and Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship at the inaugural Day 1 pay-per-view. This past week on Raw, Owens beat WWE Champion Big E via disqualification when Rollins intervened and attacked Owens. In fact, this was what Owens had planned all along as he went out of his way to attack Rollins during the match. Now, the prizefighter tweeted that he'll be the next WWE Champion in 29 days. Owens urged fans to rejoice as he climbs to the top in WWE at Day 1. Owens held the WWE Universal Championship back in 2016. He has also held the NXT Championship, Intercontinental Championship, and United States Championship on several occasions. Over the last few weeks, Kevin Owens has gotten the better of WWE Champion Big E. The powerhouse of positivity finally had the chance to put the hurt on Owens in a high-stakes matchup, but Seth Rollins interfered. Big E got the worst of the exchange as Owens rolled out of the ring and a frustrated Rollins hit a vicious stomp on Big E. Next week, as Raw rolls into Memphis, the WWE Champion will have a shot at retribution. During this week's SmackDown, WWE announced that Big E will face Kevin Owens in a steel cage match on Raw. With no way to escape, do you think Kevin Owens will fall to Big E just days before the triple threat match on Day 1? Let us know in the comments section below. Former WWE manager Dutch Mantell shared his predictions for Brock Lesnar vs Roman Reigns at the Day 1 pay-per-view next month. Speaking on this week's episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling Smack Talk, Dutch Mantell was intrigued at the prospect of having 2 behemoths colliding at Day 1. The wrestling veteran mentioned that WWE could pull a swerve and have Heyman turn on Roman Reigns. Mantell also suggested that a double turn could be involved, leading Lesnar to walk away with the Universal Championship. Here's what Mantell had to say: "I think we get Heyman involved. If Heyman is involved, Brock may be taking that title. I think they may be doing that double switch. They could, very easily." The former manager also discussed why WWE did not have anyone in the main event picture apart from Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. "They have nobody, they have people but nobody built to that level. They spent so much time building Roman and Brock that nobody else can match their longevity or prestige. They've got nobody to fall to. You can't blame a creative team. You have to blame the guy in charge for that," Mantell said. With his indefinite suspension lifted, Brock Lesnar returned to the blue brand this week. Brock Lesnar started the show with an opening promo only to be interrupted by Sami Zayn. He then persuaded the Great Liberator to challenge Roman that night for the Universal Championship. The Beast Incarnate also met Sonya Deville backstage to ensure that the match was official. WWE also stipulated that Brock Lesnar would face the winner in a Universal Championship match at Day 1. Before the main event, Lesnar proceeded to take Sami Zayn to Suplex City and laid him out with 2 F5s. He then left the arena, allowing Roman Reigns to pick up a quick win over Sami Zayn in the main event. The Tribal Chief and the Beast Incarnate will collide on January 1, 2022. Considering his history with both men, it would be interesting to see whose side Paul Heyman will be on. WWE superstar Io Shirai has had an excellent run in NXT ever since she arrived in 2018. The Genius of the Sky held the NXT Women's Championship for over 300 days. In April 2021, she recently dropped the title to Raquel Gonzalez. Following that, Shirai worked in different spots on the card, including a run as the NXT Women's Tag Team Champion alongside Zoe Stark from July to October. The duo recently lost the titles to Toxic Attraction at Halloween Havoc. The Japanese superstar will compete in a 4-on-4 War Games match this Sunday, which could be her last match for NXT as she looks up to the main roster. Speaking to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, the former NXT Women's Champion commented on the possibility of moving to Raw or SmackDown. Of course, I would be open to a move to SmackDown or Raw. The opportunity would present new goals and encounters different from what I have achieved and experienced in NXT. This year's edition of NXT War Games will see Io Shirai enter the steel structure for the third time. The NXT star will team up with Cora Jade, Raquel Gonzalez, and Kaylee Ray to face Dakota Kai and all three members of Toxic Attraction in the Women's War Games match. The name Io Shirai has become synonymous with War Games. She left a lasting impression during last year's match by leaping down on everyone in the ring from the top of the cage with a trash can over her head. The former Stardom superstar has competed in both War Games matches so far, including the first ever Women's War Games match in 2019. Shirai has been on the losing end both times. What do you think of Shirai's comments? Can she snap her War Games losing streak this Sunday? Let us know in the comment box below. Dutch Mantell recently discussed this week's segment where Toni Storm hit Charlotte Flair in the face with a pie. Mantell was on this week's episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Smack Talk to review the latest episode of WWE SmackDown. Dutch Mantell claimed he called it out well in advance that Toni would soon have her revenge on Charlotte. Mantell, however, has one issue with the segment. He pointed out that Toni Storm missed Charlotte's face, and the pie went over her head. The former WWE manager detailed that Charlotte later guided the pie to her face. I called the deal with Toni Storm and Charlotte Flair. I said she needs to get hit in the face now, and there it was. When she started on her way back there she was, and she missed. She didn't get her flat on the face. It went over her head. I think she finally got it down in her face, but that's the only thing that she could have done. Charlotte Flair was in a dismissive mood this week on SmackDown as she marched to the ring. The Queen mocked Toni Storm and made it clear she'd never recuperate from last week's humiliation. However, Storm surprised Charlotte with a pie to her face. In a backstage segment, WWE correspondent Megan Morant walked up to the SmackDown Women's Champion to get her thoughts on the incident. Charlotte Flair was infuriated and refused to comment on the events that transpired earlier in the evening. There has been a lot of speculation about the relationship status of WWE's Charlotte Flair and AEW's Andrade El Idolo. It seems as though one of wrestling's power couples has come to an end, as Charlotte Flair and Andrade have reportedly called it quits. This news comes after over 2.5 years of them being together. The couple were only revealed to be together around WrestleMania 35 weekend. According to Bodaslam.net, various sources told Cassidy Haynes that Charlotte Flair and Andrade have reportedly broken up, and it wasn't a mutual decision. After speaking with multiple sources, I can confirm that the two are no longer together. Sources indicated that the breakup did not appear to be mutual, and that it was Charlotte who ended the relationship. I was not given any details as to why the relationship came to an end, only that the two are officially done as of a couple weeks ago. The duo had gotten engaged on January 1, 2020, but their wedding plans were postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as they wanted their friends and family to be able to travel. It seems like tensions have been brewing between the two for a while now. On November 22, 2021, it was revealed that Andrade had unfollowed Charlotte Flair from both Instagram and Twitter. In the aftermath of a reportedly non-mutual breakup, the two superstars might be happy to be competing in different promotions now. There are no other details as to what went down and caused the breakup, but wrestling fans will be sad to see the alleged end of one of wrestling's biggest power couples. Andrade maintained a good relationship with Ric Flair throughout their time together. The AEW star revealed that he was highly intimidated by Charlotte Flair and her father before realizing that the women's champion wasn't as fierce as her on-screen character. They posted many pictures together on social media, but Andrade appears to have removed several recent posts of him and Charlotte Flair.